you're excited to come to Australia on a working holiday visa, I'm sure you're already aware of the perk of their high minimum wage. Their minimum wage sits at $17.70 an hour, which means you don't have to have a lot of experience or a lot of education to get into a high-paying job. So I thought I would share some of the high-paying jobs that a lot of backpackers should look into. So the number one job that a lot of guys and girls want is to actually be a traffic controller. You don't need to have any construction experience. All you need is to have your white card, your blue card, and your yellow card. Now that training plus assessments will run you about $800, but you'll easily make that money back because you will have a very high hourly rate plus overtime and weekends. So if you want to make a lot of money quickly, I would suggest looking into those opportunities. Another option is to go into construction. Now you will need to get a white card and that will cost you about $100, but Australia is building a lot of railways and solar farms, so you don't need to have a lot of experience to get into another high-paying job. Another option is to nanny. That's a great opportunity because not only will you be paid an hourly wage, you'll also get your accommodation covered and you'll live with locals, so we'll definitely tour you around. It's a great way to experience different parts of the country. Now the requirements are really dependent on what the family's looking for. Sometimes they'll want a background check, other times they'll want first aid. That's really dependent on the family. And if you're looking for nannying jobs, I would suggest connecting with some of the nannying groups on Facebook, also looking into some of the nannying recruiting services. So Australia also has a lot of mines on it, and although they tend to hire for a lot of technical skills there, they do hire for short-term fly-in and fly-out roles for admin. Now this is perfect for any backpacker because you'll basically work on the mine, you'll be paid a great hourly wage, plus you'll have your accommodation covered, and you'll only work a few weeks, and then they'll fly you out to a local city where you'll have a few weeks off, and you'll do that rotation for a few months, and if you get on at one mine, you might be able to get on another. That's perfect because you get a good balance of working while also traveling, and your expenses will also be lower. So if you're looking for something a little bit more adventurous outside the box and are okay with not living in a huge city, that might be a great option for you. So if you've ever worked at a bar back home or maybe a cafe, there's a ton of hospitality roles available, and with the great hourly wage plus evening, weekend, and holiday rate increases, you'll definitely be able to save a lot of money while working in a bar or a cafe. Now you will need to get an RSA license, and if you don't have any barista experience, I would recommend getting a barista certificate or taking a barista course. So because of Australia's great year-round weather, they're constantly having festivals, and that means they always need laborers to take down and set up the festivals. So if you want to do something physical but don't really want to do construction, I would suggest looking into event setup and teardown roles. You may need your white card, that again will only run you $100, so it's a good investment and it does give you some flexibility to take on many different roles. If you love talking, I would suggest looking into call centers. They have a lot of short-term contracts, and sometimes it's customer care or sales, and they have a lot of turnover in that industry, so they're okay accepting people that can't stay forever. So only being able to work for 6 months isn't a huge issue to them. So I do know a few backpackers that made some great money doing door-to-door sales for an energy company. So if you're interested in a career in sales, I would say get it started while you're here in Australia. They were making about $1,200 a week, which is a great wage for a backpacker when you don't have a lot of expenses. So if you can find a farm that will pay you hourly wages plus overtime, and it's high season in a high demand crop, you can actually save a lot of money and make some great wages doing your farm work. The great part about that is that you will be in a rural area, so there's not a lot to do, and that means there's not a lot to spend your money on. So that's a great option for saving some money and get your 88 days done while still making friends you can travel with later on. So if you're just looking for a way to make a little bit of extra money on the side, I would suggest looking into Uber Eats, Deliveroo, or Foodora. All you really need is a bike, which you should be able to pick up on Gumtree for about $100. You'll get to tour your local city, and you'll get some great exercise while making money. I hope I've helped with your job search and that you land one of these awesome jobs. And if you've got any other jobs that you think Australian backpackers should look into, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you want more tips on living in Australia or going nomad this year, please subscribe.